20 Sides to Every Story. My name is Casey. Tonight, we are going to be not playing some Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition because we have completed our campaign, but I did want to get all of the players back on to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Do a little recap of the things that we have done so far, give them a chance to ask some questions, and ask them what their characters may be doing in the future. I am a little bit sad to say, though, Red was not able to join us. Right now, we're offering his sister congratulations on graduation. So have fun and be out there. Hopefully, they don't keep Red too late. Might be able to jump in, but real life celebrations happening as well. So on that note, to the players, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Had a great time playing with everybody. I hope you had some fun as well. And what my plan for this evening is to run through the chapters that we did, give a chapter title, say a little bit about it, get everybody a chance to chime in, take a couple of minutes to run through that and kind of call out fun we had, fun we didn't have, ask questions, and so on. And then towards the end of the evening, I will be sharing my thoughts on what I think the future might hold for the various characters. I've been dropping some of those into our chat on the Discord. One of which is suspiciously absent because I don't know what that character would actually do. So as we go through, when we hit parts where characters may have been keeping secrets from one another that they would like to share or drop more strenuous hints at, we'll definitely do that. So for the last time, let's go around the horseshoe and we'll ask the players to introduce themselves and give us a little recap of what their character started as, ended with, main theme, whatever you'd like to throw out there about your characters at this point. We'll start bottom left and hook our way around, so we'll open up with Loktar.
All right. What do you want to know specifically?
Sure, just introduce yourself to as much as you'd like or as you want, and then give me a little, who is going to be Loktar.
Okay. Yeah. I'm pollen affected Bo. Sorry, I have some allergies. And I am a player of Loktar, the Bugbear, many class character. Mostly barbarian, I guess.
Fair.
Or well, what's the word? Like plurality, or it's like not the majority, but so I don't know. I don't know English, and neither does he very well, so that works out. Sorry, this is the worst one to start with. I'm blah blah blah. Okay, he's furry, he's glittery, he's dedicated to the trinity of bugbear gods, who may or may not be alive at this point. I'm not sure.
Who have actually been risen. There was an effort made to that, so the Bugbear Trio has reformed. Oh, Hagruck, Nope, I'm going to lose. Grenkle and
Skiggaret.
Right. There we go. The Bugbear Trio. With that, we'll bump up one. Nick introing Durin.
Okay, well, I'm Nick, and I play Durin. He is our Furbolg Paladin. He started this adventure after a tree that he had been imprisoned in for 100 years mysteriously caught fire, and he made his way through the Underdark up to the surface and found himself up in Neverwinter, and along the way discovered that even though he thought, his queen, imprisoned him out of malice, it was actually for this exact moment in time.
You got it. One of the nice things about being a follower of the three fated woman, who is the future, the past, and the present. But There was a little bit of a discovery to happen there, and you spent your time a little bit angry about it. Got your teenage angst years out of the way.
Yes.
Bumping up, yep, bumping up to Jason and Lostall.
I'm Jason. Lostall was an elf bard. He came from a family of father was a musician, ran a bar club where musicians and would come and play, and wizards and adventurers would go join. So Lostall spent much of his youth there. Mom was a massive knowledge person, so Lostall decided he wanted to gain more knowledge than he had musical skills. Stole a few books from mom, made his way to the oh, Casey, I forget the
Candlekeep?
library.
Candlekeep.
Yeah, Candlekeep, and traded in her two of her precious books for entrance. While and then joined with this motley crew. And during his time, while they were separated, went on a little adventure and infiltration, and got caught and was actually turned into a Dampier.
Sure did. And
So, and
managed to hold that close to the vest through the vast majority of the campaign. Well done there. So yeah, got a little nibbled after the encounter with our good friends Delvin and Kavori Fahrenheit, who you all met in the intro campaign. Bopping over to Kevin introing Fortune.
Yeah, I'm Kevin. I played Fortune, who started this campaign off having recently faked his own death in Waterdeep to essentially drop heat from Xanathar and his kind of goons, and made his way up to Neverwinter, having never really left the slums and the areas he might have worked at for the gangs in Waterdeep. Meeting a group of people unlike anything he'd ever met before, with a lot of just lack of knowledge of the world, and really grew up a lot through this group, especially traveling with Durin, Montgomery, Bo, Kavori, and forgetting the brother's name that
Delvin.
you just mentioned, Delvin. Been a while since we've seen Delvin. But yeah, traveling around the Sword Coast and further inland, and I believe we made our first trip towards like the desert was the kind of end goal, because none of us, or at least Fortune, hadn't ever seen a desert before.
Yeah. After that intro adventure, kind of the level up montage started off with a tour out to the desert, headed down, came around, visited Ed Montgomery in Cormier, and we'll actually use that as the intro over there before I continue that on. Ed, can you intro Montgomery?
Yeah, I'm Ed, and I played Montgomery Scarlet, who started off as a wizard, and as he was very young, he got sucked into the astral sea, and he spent many years there. So by the time he made it back to the prime material plane, his family were all gone, and everything was abandoned. So that's when he traveled to Neverwinter and ran into the group that he ended up traveling with for the rest of his adventuring career.
Awesome.
So.
And then speaking on Red's behalf for Televere, Televere was our resident necromancer, and after having got caught up with the party, finding them to be useful tools, and occasionally expressing how much he thought they were tools, I would say he got invested into some information brokering in Neverwinter, working with Lostall on the cult information, Fortune a little bit on the sides, and then playing off the Montgomery Scarlet and Durin's reputations to kind of make that all come together. And that's one of the first thank you call outs that I wanted to do. After the Nest of the Eldritch Eye intro campaign, I had a real good time working with you all on that little level up montage. Everybody came up with some great stuff between Loktar's kind of odd angle as being a goblinoid representative and sort of playing the balance of, hey, I'm kind of messing with the clerics that I'm going to work with in that, to Durin having defeated some of a local bandit king, outlaw, evil baron. I forget
Yeah.
exactly what he was, but kind of doing your heroing stuff there.
Yeah.
Fortune checking in on the fam as they go by, Lostal off investigating the cult, and Montgomery heading to Cormier to fall in love and get married while attending Wizarding College effectively. So gave us a real good start to what would be our Chapter 1, the return to Neverdeath Graveyard, heading to Neverwinter, entering the graveyard, dealing with some of the cultists of Vecna, finding out some of the secrets of the members of Winter, including our rom-com edition of Vecna and Kaz's younger life, and then getting sucked into Evernight, where two of the party at least really found themselves at home and later on became property owners. Anyone want to throw in any commentary or questions from that section? Because there was a lot going on, and I was curious if anybody had anything else they wanted to know.
Well, Televere found love, so
Televere did
Yumi.
One of many loves.
did
And isn't that also when we that's where we found the Bone Zone, and it's also where we gave that cultist away to the vampire as payment.
Yes.
Yep.
Those are true things. So yes, that's where we established that the party was not entirely white hat, willing to dip into the gray a bit there, but it was a cultist that they sold into being a prisoner with a job.
yeah, but they were pretty mind washed already.
Yeah,
so-
all that
Yeah.
all that cultist did was keep sweeping and sweeping. They were like totally brain dead.
Yeah, and that we decided made it okay in this particular situation. So after our time spent in Evernight, the party was then able to return to Neverwinter, gather up some things, spread out a bit, until they were summoned back by the Wizards 3. Unbeknownst to them, one of the Wizards 3 was not the wizard he presented himself to be, but Tasha Illustrial and Mordenkainen, in air quotes, welcomed them, having cast a wish spell, to take care of Vecna's uprising. The solution that presented these three, Mordenkainen then indicating that it would be the Rod of Seven Parts that would be the undoing of Vecna, and it did prove out to be eventually. But were there any questions, comments, concerns about the meeting of the Wizards 3 that we wanted to call out particularly?
How did Kaz cast the wish spell?
Kaz did not. He acted as though he were participating. The relic that he was wearing, the Crown of Lies, caused any lie that he cast to be almost indetectable. That is one of the reasons that the wish spell failed, and rather than dealing with Vecna, pulled you in, because it was underpowered. So it
We're the discount wish.
you were
We're like the wish. We're the wish.com wish.
You're a 33%
Etsy
discount.
We're Etsy wish.
That's pretty good.
So the
I don't think we ever found actual Mordenkainen, did we?
no
If he's
Mordenkainen.
alive.
Mordenkainen is alive, but off somewhere. The book describes him as being elsewhere in the plains. And there was a small opportunity had you started having suspicions in towards the final chapters to do some investigating there, but that would have been a lot longer play. And that's one of the things that I am happy and apologetic for. We did do this as a bit of a romp. We kept it to more or less 3-hour sessions, and 2 to 3 sessions per chapter to get through it. There was so much more opportunity for other expansions that I hope it didn't feel too compressed for you all. And if there's any areas that you do want to dig into later, let me know, because that would be fun to, probably not with this crew, but pull in some one-shots or other areas in that. Because you did hit the vast majority of the realms. The first of which was dipping your toe into the Underdark in Web's
The worst
Edge.
adventure.
The biggest clusterfuck we could cause. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which-
didn't you like touch a diamond and almost die?
There was
Yes, Lost All did.
a,
Every time I missed a session, Lost All touched a trap
Well, I was gonna say,
and
'cause
almost died.
That's when, yeah, I think you ended up showing up for that. Like you came in
I
late.
mean,
And then,
halfway
like,
through.
we were like, we came in, we're walking in, and we're at a locked door, and we can't get through it, and we don't have our rogue.
I locked the door for you. Come on.
There
Yeah,
we go.
eventually we got there.
So there's the image of the gem that was just so obviously a trap. And
Where you?
on the roll 20, is it
The
did
dead
bring up the image for
skeleton
you?
right next to it.
I forgot about roll 20.
They're not even hiding the fact that you'll die if you touch that thing.
It was so obvious a trap, and I'm pretty sure you detected it, and you tried like 5 or 6 different things to pick it up. I think you mage handed, and maybe you were using something remote. But this was a nasty trap, and it did detonate even despite those precautions.
I didn't have mage hand, but I tried moving it or something before
You
I
might have been
grabbed it. And that's
using a
what set it
stick
off.
or a rope or whatever it was, but it wasn't
Yes,
quite
I
enough.
suppose it was the rope.
Yeah.
I moved it with a rope and it detonated.
So that started off with the rope. We detonated the trigger. Loktar tried to negotiate with some cultists, I believe, in a very strange method. That went poor. You guys did take out the assassin quite well, but then the wizard caused you all kinds of trouble, going invisible up and down the hallway, and that was when we learned that wizards
That's
can
the
turn
Macarena.
corners. And we picked up with the Macarena. Emergencies happened. Extra resources were sent for, and that was, I believe, at about the time Loktar leapt back through the portal, went to go grab the extra magical items, saw a deck of many things that Montgomery had researched and I believe had warned everyone about, and Illustrial had said, yes, it's here for safekeeping. We don't want anybody pulling from it. But Loktar made a decision, pulled one card, and it was all magical items in your possession are disintegrated. So as you were taking possession of the whole cabinet, poof, and Loktar acquired his semi-permanent magical sparkles.
He should have pulled 3. That was the mistake.
The mistake was
I
not
think the
pulling enough cards.
Doesn't
Yeah.
Talon end it right there too? Like you don't get to draw any more cards after? Or is that one of the other ones?
I don't
Don John or something.
I don't recall.
That would make sense. It probably disintegrated too, right?
I do recall you giving him a roll too, just a kind of random roll to make sure he didn't pull the chime
Yep.
required to defeat Vecna.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I'm very curious what
Yes.
your plan was if he had instead accidentally disintegrated the chime.
If he had disintegrated the chime, I had no plan. So to be honest, going into this, I have no backup plans. if that had happened, we would have had to figure something out. The chime was just basically a very high DC banishment spell, so you might have just been, you guys really need to stock up on scrolls of banish and get banish yourselves and really start casting. So there are
Hey.
potentials. Oh, hey! Check it out. Who needs
You
a
thought you
sister
could
anyway?
escape me. Yeah, exactly.
Can't believe you started a fire at your sister's graduation just to get here on time.
Hey, it wasn't just any fire; it was a chemical fire. Okay, thank you very
Oh.
much. Get it right.
So, welcome. We've done our little quick introductions. I did a semi-accurate introduction to Televere, and we're stepping our way through the chapters that we've seen. We're just hitting chapter 2, Web's Edge, where many magic items were disintegrated, and then we fought the first of our specialty monsters, which would be our spider dragon.
I think it was me.
Yeah.
The firewall was great, though. That was great play. The firewall.
Solid firewall, solid set.
The whole fight was a good one. A lot of going
Mhm.
back and forth, if I recall, of like trying to not get hit, but also getting hit because we didn't have as many options to avoid all of it.
Yeah.
That fight was difficult for a lot of different
Yeah,
reasons.
Yeah.
we got saved by the audience on it. Honestly, remember they
That's
were
true.
doing
We
that
had
'cause
a
it was the
lot of
charity.
healing rolls for the charity.
If it wasn't for that, I think it might have been a TPK. It felt like it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will
Well, at
say-
least they would have followed us to the Wizards 3, because Casey was very excited to have this thing join
yeah,
us through the
'cause
portal.
I was
That's right,
so
people were
looking
trying
forward to it.
Evac, and me and Televere are like, no, we're gonna hang out and try to see what we can do down here.
That's literally like a. I left. I took all your magic items and I came back with a spider dragon.
I was. There were a couple of times where I was hoping you guys would fail spectacularly. That was one of the times when I was like, I kind of want to see what's about to happen. Like, it's just gonna go all wrong. But you did pull it out. You did defeat the spider dragon. You were able to recover your first piece of the rod and then return back to the wizards in Sigil. And once there, we then learned that the next place you would be heading to would be Eberron with our Colossi, our docent guidance. Yeah?
Was that the Astral Sea? I thought we did the Astral Sea before.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Eberron.
Astral Street. You're correct.
I
I
was about to say.
can't. I
Yeah.
can't read.
Yeah. And we have to bring up, I think we missed the part where you were that author that said sometimes I need to slip a little tongue in it.
That was earlier.
Yeah.
That was in chapter 1, which was our rom-com romance. And I mean, you got to make books that sell. And we just,
Hey, whatever works,
that's it. That
Sometimes
was
you gotta slip a little tongue in it.
gonna slip a little time. That was before the Bone Zone, though, so we were degenerating as we went.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, the Bone Zone had to be the best part of the whole campaign. Like, we all know it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a good time. So equipment, magical items, and spells are being acquired. Characters are leveling up. Power is becoming more available. And then it was time for the Astral Sea and the Lambent Zenith spell jamming ship that had crashed into Havoc, the dead god. On approach, the party dealt with some of the Astral Sea's fish-type things, the sharks and such of the Astral Sea. They landed, and I believe in and around this time we were still doing one of our charities, and I believe in and around that time a number of wandering encounters were being rolled.
Then we got
We had
a
the
3
3 and 4.
We got a
two
3 and a
best
4.
A 3 and a
We
4.
rolled a 3,
encounters.
4, and then
That's
the
right,
next
yeah.
one was a 3.
And I believe
And I
that was
like,
the
great, here it comes, he's gonna
D100
bring
swing.
Tiamat. Yeah.
Low numbers are not so great for you. High numbers would be great for
Oh,
you. Early on, I think Kavori showed up on a high number to help you out, and
In the
with the
prologue, I
cultists
believe.
in the prologues.
Mhm.
This time, however, was a little bit on the other side. And
So you brought out the Astral Dreadnought.
and
and
Astral
then what was the other
Dreadnought
one?
was the first thing that you fought.
And then we got the boss earlier.
And then you woke up the boss, the Hertaloid, that was able to travel through Havoc's body and do a little pop-out swallow and
That's
pull
right,
people back
that's
in.
right.
But good news there, the party was on it enough to realize that that would be extremely bad to fall for. So you were able to recover with, I believe, long arms, a few strength saving throws, and a little bit of magic in there as well.
I think that was my first of. Oh, maybe I can actually use compelled duel. I think it failed, but
So
If I remember, it did fail, but it was a great idea.
yeah, everyone
Yeah.
was like, "That was such a good idea," and I was just like,
And-
"Sorry, it failed."
I will say a little behind the curtain thing. The Lambent Zenith there is intended to be a little bit of a learn the characters who done it, but I just didn't play that way, and I couldn't get it back on the rails once we started going off the rails. So
You're talking about the Slod who was
This-
impersonating
correct.
the elephant man, who Fortune immediately was like, "Holy shit! There's just a guy who looks like an elephant in a, in a like a French Marine or French Navy ship."
Absolutely. So you initially met the two Githyanki sort of pirate folk, and then once you had met the Githyanki pirate folk,
It all went downhill.
it all went downhill, and you were all in on the GIF, and never got to see that his true form was a little bit more slotty.
Oh, pretty.
Did you? I guess we should have realized that the first handout does say Ilrin 1, and that's a little weird. In hindsight, that's not normally what we see on these handouts. You did say basically they all were returned to Sigil when we finished, right? And we don't know what ever happened with them and their Death Slod captain or vice captain.
Yep. So at some point in the future, someone has to deal with Sigil being infested with a new batch of slotty just waiting to bump pop out of the chest burster style. But you had bigger things to worry about. You had to deal with the Hertaloid and its fight. You did fairly well on that one. You put a pretty good hurtin' on the Hertaloid, came away with your new rod piece, and then a little bit of extra work went into harvesting some of Havoc's material to create a new weapon for Loktar, who almost immediately decided, I'm going to do other things with it. Because even though it was a cool force weapon, his barbarians started turning it into everything except force as we worked our way through. Back to the Wizards 3 we went, and then to Eberron, the ruined Colossi, the wastelands there, dealing with the three factions, the Raiders, the Looters, and then the Monks, investigating the massive Landro, and after, a bit of fighting, a bit of maze going, a bit of negotiating, it all kind of came together in the escaping on the last possible round before Landro exploded, down to the point where I was like, crap, this is going to TPK on 0, jumping out, force bubbles, explosions in the background, cool people don't look back. So
can't forget
Yeah, didn't we have
Lost
Featherhall?
being grabbed in Otto's orb by a rock. I believe
yeah,
it
and
was.
that was-
yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
absolutely. A lot of stuff happening
Loktar-
in there.
Loktar in Aru's sphere.
It was the one time
I'm
too.
holding the spear that, oh, no, I'm not.
The one time where tried doing the suppressing a secret with Landro, and both Landro and Fortune were like, "Huh, that kind of sucked." That didn't feel.
I remember early on in that one where we were down in the lower the lower part of the Landro, and we had such a bad time fighting everything that we drew all the upper level monsters down to us.
Yeah,
You did, absolutely.
made so much noise.
Hmm
The ambushes
And then-
were fun.
Yeah, I hated those things. As a
'Cause they
mage,
kept
I
killing
really
me.
hated those things.
And was that Durin or Lost Doll who decided to lick the silvery juice and lost the
Durin.
ability
That was
to talk?
Durin.
It was
Durin.
Durin.
You
Durin,
lost some of your
I-
spellcasting authority there for a
I
while.
put some in a.
I think the only thing I could do was like Booming Blade or Firebolt or something like that. Just
It was. Was it that or was it green? Did you have green flame blade?
yes,
you
I
did.
did.
You did?
I did. Yeah,
I think
I-
that may have been it. I think that one doesn't require somatic. So
I put some in a potion bottle just in case to use it in the future, which I never did.
Yeah, and then didn't we leave and it disappeared immediately?
Oh, that's right. That's right. It did.
mhm,
There's also
'Cause
our
that was-
first death happened in that area.
mhm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who got murdered by the one
Lost Doll.
ambush? Lost Doll. That's right. The robots
Yeah.
came up with the commander, and they all just targeted Lost Doll and knocked him out, and then killed him. So the first time we had to
Yeah, Lost
revivify.
Doll, yeah.
Lokar.
No, it was you, Lost Doll. You got your ass handed to you.
Okay. I don't remember that one.
Must say-
Apparently.
That was
I
think-
remember
I think
got my ass
Lokar
kicked a lot, but I don't
I mean,
remember that one.
Loktar probably died, but
Yeah, Lost Doll and
We're-
Lokdar
we're
were always
used to
trying to
that.
one up each other in the
I
who can
think
die
we
the
got
most
worried.
department.
Let's see. I got killed by the Astral Dreadnought.
yeah.
so.
No, you had one death fail on the, or sorry, you
I
were
got knocked
almost
out by the
dead.
Dreadnought. I
Knocked
got
out by
knocked
the
out by the
Dreadnought.
Dreadnought. Yeah.
Yeah, but
But no,
that
you were-
was.
Dead
I
by
was
the
dead.
Warforged. Warforged took. Honestly, I'm
That's
surprised.
right. I
think
forgot
we
about-
almost died. Yeah, I think
God.
more of it.
I
Yeah,
will
Because
say.
they always
I had to bring it
focused.
back. Yeah, they
Yeah.
all came after you, and it was
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, that was Glaive and her Blade Scouts. I will say though, between the Astral Dreadnought and the Scouts, it did kind of show the party cohesiveness there in odd ways. Fortune, didn't you try to dive down the Astral Dreadnought's throat after Lost Doll?
He did.
Yeah,
He
he
did.
Okay,
Mhm.
so there was a once someone got in trouble, there was definitely
yeah, it would always kick in, and it was like, okay, it's serious.
it's
time.
serious time. It's go time. After that,
Yeah, no, I forgot
believe
about the kicking crap out of me. Yeah.
I believe negotiations were made. A new religion was founded for the Warforged pilgrims that we'll have to deal with sometime in the future. A lot of religions founded over the course of this party's career.
We had an even truce between them. The Warforged got what they wanted, and so did the mercenaries.
Yeah.
Basically, if I remember correctly, we set Eberron up to basically just be the next 40k universe. Like they had the Adeptus Mechanicus on one hand, they had a bunch of pseudo, somewhat religious, somewhat like we're just kind of xenophobic people on the other. Like I feel like we just kind of set that up.
That
Alright.
is along the lines of where that ended up. And I think the only thing that really got chosen there that was not a potential option, had you brought Landro along with you rather than starting the Adeptus Mechanicus religion, you could have had a water elemental summon available to you. But
I'm glad we left his ass behind.
yeah, leave him behind. Who needs him? Because you had better things to do. You had the opportunity at that point, due to your leveling, to start casting Simulacra. And then it was time to go to Ravenloft and visit the Death House.
And me,
Fun.
Barbara Lasagna.
And meet Barbara
God
Lasagna.
bless Barbara Lasagna.
And that's so at that point, I'm going to pause before we dive in, because by the time we hit about this point, 4 or 5 secrets had started bouncing around in amongst the players. The one that got revealed throughout that Death House is that Montgomery had substituted Montgomery Beta, his Simulacra, to go into Barovia on his behalf, while Montgomery stayed to help the fam.
There's actually a story there. That's not exactly what happened.
Okay.
So Montgomery actually got very scared about facing a vampire in his own plane and didn't want to go, and just had learned Simulacrum, but didn't really fully understand it. And that's why he had just rushed to cast it. And that's why he didn't take all these things into account. And that's how things got out of kilter. And that's part of the reason why Beta harbors, all his ill will, because Beta knows this, right? Because Beta knows everything at that moment that then transpired. So in a moment of weakness and cowardice, that's why he did what he did, which then put Beta in the situation that he's in, which is why Beta hates him so much.
Gotcha. Now, around that same time, and I might have the chapters slightly confused, Lost Doll and Televere were hitting me up as well for some of their own shenanigans. Do either of you would like to share those shenanigans?
I think the only shenanigans I was getting up to, I later on told the group it was the
clones.
It was the clones. Like I was trying to set the clones up so in the event of another character death where, hey, we don't have the ability to resurrect them, we would have the same group, right? We could maintain cohesiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And then at one point I was also looking at, I don't remember if this was during Ravenloft. I don't think it was.
There was a little
I know I
before,
was
a
trying to
little
do a
after
flesh
in
golem.
there, but okay. Lost Doll, is there anything you want to share?
He was trying to see if he could work a little magic with Barbara Lasagna and possibly become a little more than just a damp fear. Take it a little step further, which is why he used his memory shenanigans on her.
Sounds good.
Fortune tried to hit you over the head and pretend he had just killed you.
So on that note, upon entering the death house, the notables of Barovia were made aware of the intrusion, the ritual that was being cast, enhanced by the rod's power, something unnatural. And I think in here we might have been in charity stream mode at one point as well, because I believe we got a couple of guests called to the party, one of which was the renamed Baba La Saga to Barbara Lasagna. As the party made their way in, accompanied by one of the faithful, they dealt with some priest of Ozibus who had an unpleasant habit of coming back and some draining abilities. They dealt with some animated armor and some other things. Then when they made it upstairs, they were almost taken out entirely by a rogue chandelier. They decided to do some performance on the harp and maybe harpsichord and lute, whatever that combination was. Baba La Saga showed up at the window, looking to be invited in. Lost Doll applied charm, and Fortune tried to beat Lost Doll to death, so that I still don't think I understand what the logic was behind that whole scene.
You can't take him, he's dead. Sorry.
You can't take him, he's dead.
But I loved your metaphor there, which was, yes, everyone knows how people react when you take away their favorite toy. It's usually, oh, it's gone, right? Yeah. That's how a 12-year-old would react in that situation or something like that.
That sounds about right. So, yes, the logic didn't seem okay to me. But then magic was applied, saving throws were failed, and the Baba was convinced to leave Semi in peace, bribed by gifts into the future. The party made their way through the rest of the house, discovered some things, made their way into the basement, fought some shambling monstrosities, and Impaler, I believe, summoned a demon. And then on the way out,
that was when Fortune died, was the Impaler.
Yes, Fortune did die.
and came back with the curse effect of thinking he is the best, like the smart. I think it's the smartest, the most cunning, the wisest, the most beautiful, like every
That's all that
adjective.
came in, yeah.
And that's when Fortune started really taking himself not seriously, but the equivalent of really, I'm the best. I'll do it all. What could go wrong? I'm here. I've only died once.
Yeah.
And on that, I do very much appreciate everybody's willingness to dive into whatever random chaos character effects were coming up at that time and roll with whatever punches those are and then make them part of the character. I do feel like I picked on Bo/Loktar a little bit, but you kept running up into the front and standing there alone with advantage to attack you. So I'm sorry, but you're a very tempting target frequently. Durin, the exact opposite. He's like, I am a turtle, you can't hurt me. And I'm like, I'm not even going to try most of the time because the first round they just all miss. And then the squishy ones would occasionally jump into the fray to be met. But despite...
I was curious throughout the 20 level campaign, like how frustrating was it that you probably hit Durin like 3 times?
Not
he was like unhittable, man.
Oh, and then the couple of times where I used Bardic or
cutting words, my hits, or you maybe re-roll my crits when they did. I'm like, I know that this is exactly.
Let's attack his saves. Oh no, he's invulnerable there too.
Yeah, because we went all but like the last episode with me realizing that the +5 was already built in.
Oh.
So I was like, oh yeah, I have a +15 to wisdom saving throws.
That's okay. But
it happens.
We have all done such things. I'm sure I rolled at least 1 or 2 attacks and things that have only been single used or whatever. But negotiations with Strahd went fairly well. I believe you convinced them that you were in with the Ozibus folks and out and away to deal with this. Only having committed a few services to the Lord Vampire, which I'll ask what the future might hold for those as we come to the end of that set. With the Death House in Barovia behind you, you returned and discovered you would next be heading to Kryn, Dragonlance area, the Palon Tree, where you discovered the Dryad/Nymph who had too easily surrendered her piece. You dealt with the big dog beast, whose name is escaping me right now, to rescue the werewolves, the Borthak.
Oh yeah.
Who was a bit troublesome.
He had the ice effects around the ground on him or something like that.
He had the noxious regurgitation and the glacial aura. So he had two big hits going on there. But
also, his tail reacted every time he got hit, right? Every time, not just on a reaction.
You got it. So a lot of stuff going on there. You're able to meet up with the Blue Fire Wardens, find out that they needed some rescuing, make your way to the Three Moons Vault. I got a pretty good ambush hit on you with the Moonbeam trap at the door, and then everything went your way from there. Because no matter what kind of nonsense I threw at you, you answered it very well. I had a horde of undead monsters. You had a wall of force. I had a death knight. You had tremendous damage. I had a dragon. You were like, we don't care about dragons. I had a archmage. You're like, nope, we're just going to smack them down, tumble through the air, land on the ground, and all sorts of stuff there. But I will say, should any of you find your way back towards Kryn, the Death Lord Soth certainly is not pleased with you all and would like to deal with you in person for what his clone could not do. The Three Moons Vault, the thing that I skipped a little bit there was the puzzle aspect of find this color mirror to match to this color energy source, which could be entertaining. but in our rompy style, with having pulled all of the monsters from the lower level in to deal with you at once, kind of seemed like a wasted bit. Anything in the Night of Blue Fire and Three Moons Vault that we want to call out?
I got to live the D&D fantasy of jumping onto a dragon's back. I mean, who
Absolutely.
doesn't want to do that when you get the chance? Crit was probably one of my favorites, and definitely the one that I'm the most interested. I mean, one, I already liked the books, but also just I like the NPCs there a lot. They all had like a little bit of kind of uniqueness to them and intrigue, especially with like a halfling werewolf. Something you just, oh, that makes sense, but I never thought about it. I've never thought about what a halfling
Right.
werewolf would be like. Yeah.
Just a
So a lot of really cool characters. Also the Bone Rock. I mean, that's where we saw and then Televir acquired. That was a very exciting, a lot of good loot and fun times from there.
I was very excited to get that bone rock.
Absolutely. I am a little sorry that I did deny you full stomping access to the horde that was behind that wall of force, but that just seemed like it needed to mash itself out.
That was one that I already knew going into that. I am not going to try and get the full horde of undead. I probably could have if he had given me enough time, but I was like, it's already tedious enough with what I have. I don't want to add like a ton more in there, and especially with that ogre, I was like, we're just gonna sacrifice him. I don't need him.
Sounds good.
Way funnier to have an ogre zombie just mauling like 70 other undead behind a wall of force, though.
Yeah.
The only thing
that was
coming
a
through
great
is all the
visual.
blood.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, getting turned into a popsicle.
That's true, the brown mold.
Yeah.
Yep, marched him into the. I forgot about that. You marched him in there and he booped, popsicled, and then you're like, nope, we're walling it off. We're not going this way. I think because you walled that off, you did miss a small interaction with the holdout, good aligned guardian of the Three Moons, because they had the Three Moons phase. There was a Naga over there, the goodly kind of Naga, but I think it was okay at that. From there,
Naga, we probably would have fought it.
Yeah, knowing us.
Yeah, there's a tendency towards attack first. But the one time that the attack first didn't play through was actually the next area we went to, back to Earth, where we went to the Tomb of Wayward Souls. Arriving there, charities and other wandering monsters. You were dealing with a kraken. I believe a actual rock was summoned to fight the bone rock. There were missile sharks. There were stubborn land sharks. There were many spells and attempts to hit Durin. And there was a bit of throwing people back and forth.
I feel like you even threw stuff at me and you missed.
I threw people at you and I missed. It was not a good day for the Kraken. But it was
Even
zapping you with the lightning.
At you.
Yeah, it was getting you occasionally with the lightning. But after that, you met with the excavators and those who were hoping to reclaim some of the treasures, which I believe the party mostly claimed for themselves after casting Identify on them. So I think the one non-magical item may have been returned to them.
Well, didn't we realize they were Vecna fans, and so we're like, actually, no, screw these guys. We're not giving them any of this stuff back.
So that was
that, and they were like, we'll give you like 100 gold for it, and we're like,
way more than that. When we I think Identify was like, oh, this thing's worth like 35,000. Oh yeah, we're not giving it to them for 500.
So
500? No.
The Vecna worship and the interest in Vecna there was actually the start of Vecna's influence coming through. So while they were not in their own minds worshippers of Vecna, that was the point at which Vecna's rewriting of reality was starting to make itself known. As you made your way in there, funhouse dungeon style, lots of things. You found shrinking potions, growing potions, monster traps that moved in straight lines, which you sort of figured out and then sort of dove into the way of, but that's kind of what happened. You stole from people you shouldn't steal from and had to deal with a harmless-looking Death Knight
Knight?
again.
If I recall, this was the second time where Loktar was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna do some other stuff here and not rage," and then it was like, "Oh, also it's necrotic, piercing, and fire, but also you're not raging," so he immediately went down.
Yes.
The one time we needed you to rage, and you were like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah. Only when it was going to get him killed, because it happened in the first chapter 2, I think, when you went into like all the cultists and didn't rage, and then got beat up, and then this time as well.
And I will say this was a fun party split where you guys were sitting at the central, and then in 3 directions you shot off, and all 3 of you got yourselves into trouble, more or less at the same time. I will say, Durin and was it Montgomery? No, Durin and Montgomery that went up left. Got to the point where the ceiling would have come down and absolutely crushed them, and like, you know what? We're gonna wait to cross this one.
Yeah. Well, I was like hearing all the shit that was going on with everyone else, and I was like, you know what? I think we're gonna peace out on this ramp.
Yeah.
You also made good with the tree.
We met the tree.
Yeah, you did. You met the tree. You negotiated well with the tree. You listened to the will-o-wisps instead of attacking them, so you held off. Whereas other people were like, "Ooh, shiny and obvious trap." I didn't learn anything from being in the Underdark.
You know, I'm a paladin, so I don't just randomly attack innocent people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought that was your oath.
People
like we had a few examples.
I'm vengeance, not like conquest or glory.
Is there not? There should be a paladin of just chaos.
The oath of
Yeah,
let me try out my new
chaos.
shiny sword.
Actually, speaking of new shiny sword, I believe it was around this time that Durin finally rolled to get his crystal longsword after having spent all of his downtime every single attempt trying to get it. It was right around this range.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So
You're welcome.
Thanks. Well, I helped you sell it, so it was just fake. Payback.
Well, that's true. It was a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
So dealing with one of the liches left behind, a clone servant of Asarak, the party was then instructed that they should be taking a dip down to Avernus, heading towards the Dragon Queen's Pride, a gambling hall wherein they all actually did well. Overall, they did very well. Some of you displayed miserable luck in a very amusing fashion. So let's see here. Made your way to the gambling hall. You met Smiler the Defiler and negotiated with the Iries to steal a unicorn that was then dehorned, turning it into a nightmare. That was then sold to the race master in the Dragon Queen's Pride.
I wanted that too.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
We back up.
I gotta go back to Isaac's favorite character urinating on us.
Someone's got to talk about his weapon usage.
Yeah, I got to use the screamer.
Absolutely got to use the screamer in one of the infernal war machines. The screamer, which was basically a torment device on the back, like a cheese grater on someone's back to make the screamer yell, to take down the massive demon that you were faced against. Excellent steering most of the time. Was it Fortune? Were you steering?
Fortune was our driver.
We found out that Fortune is a completely adequate driver.
A completely
no better,
adequate driver.
Not worse.
I don't think there's ever been an easier way to describe Fortune's driving.
No, it was adequate.
Jesus, take the wheel.
He tried a few times to do some things. We didn't flip over and all die, but it also
That's
didn't
true, that's
happen.
true.
So it was just like, okay, I won't circle around this thing. I'll just go.
Here's my exit. Let Jesus take the wheel. Cross
I
3
don't know.
lanes.
Good luck, everybody else.
Good luck, everyone.
And yeah, so triggered the screamer successfully several times. Didn't take any backlash from it. Struck down the massive beast. Recovered the unicorn.
Backlash.
Made your way there were chances. Made your way back to the Eries. They led you back to the Dragon's Queen Pride. And there negotiated for the sale of the unicorn / nightmare. Put some money on it. Semi-successfully turned the odds in your favor by putting a little speed into the nightmare's trough. Got kicked out, paid your way back in. Did some fighting in the arena. That went quite well. Did some navigating through the mazes of mystery, and did some gambling both at the Hall of Intelligence and the Hall of Chance. At the Hall of Intelligence, things didn't go so well. At the Hall of Chance, it was one way then the other.
It was fortune drains all luck from Televir if he's near him.
Yeah.
Fortune is the rod of law to Televir's godhood. If you slap Televir with fortune, bad things will happen to Televir.
You are absolutely right. I will canonically say that's probably 100% true.
But all of these shenanigans earned you quite a reputation. You got the invitation down into the lower levels, the Dragon's Pride area of the Red Belvedere. In there were libations of all sorts and effects. There were wonderful trinkets on display for sale that came with a little bit of a curse attached to it. And then we had some...
But Lost All had the best sweetest massage of his life.
had some massage and care provided. Then
I'm
Came up
sure
with
he
one of
had
my
a great
favorite
time.
plans as well. I loved all the how do we want to get in through the door to the room back there.
yeah, and then it was
That-
distraction, cause havoc, sneak down, some teleporty shenanigans, and then I will say I do the things that stick in my head from campaigns are when the player's vision comes out perfectly, but is an absolute disaster to the character's event. And I think one of my favorite previous was I had a character, a player who was setting things up and like hiding from the guards that were coming, and he basically locked himself into a jail cell. And that in my mind, like in the moment, in what the character's panicking and doing, that was a fantastic thing. And like right up alongside with that is going to be pulling off a heist, leaving your calling card, and then trying to blame it on someone else as your calling card is still drifting down to the ground.
And it was the Nat 1 just that was the time where like the Nat 1 felt Nat 1's what I deserved there and wanted. Like getting that Nat 1's like, actually, no, that's perfect. Because
Yeah.
you're right. The card, I can't say one thing, but also give a card that says something else and pretend like.
I'm just going, housekeeping, can I fluff your pillow? Bye.
Housekeeping.
And with the anger of Tiamat, one of her boy toys coming charging up the hall, the party was then able to dip out of there at high speed and make their way away. At that point, they had retrieved all the pieces of the Rod of Law, settled into Sigil to prep. A wish spell was cast to get Loktar back from being a Lemure from the cursed effect. And then Kaz chose that moment to reveal himself, steal the rod away, and make a sprint for Pandesmos. After that, the party got a little creative. Some headed off to a realm with accelerated time to wait off their events. Others charged into Pandesmos after Kaz. Kaz gave him the slip using the simulacrum powers of the staff, leaving behind someone to distract them, which I had a lot of fun interacting with you all and just just playing through that distraction. I have to distract you here, guys. I just want to get you involved in the conversation and then trying not to let you go. That was a bit of fun. The party then skipped 3/4 of a chapter, made life easy and hard on me at the same time by doing some appropriate portal travel rather than fighting their way through the overland of Pandesmos. They reached the ruinous citadel, dealt with Miska, the wolf spider, as he was trying to pry his way back into this reality. Had a lot of fun with that exchange between dealing with the wolf spider demons, Miska making his way out. But at that point, I want to take a second and say, were there any details there? Because for the way we played, there weren't a lot of opportunities for you to find out about Kaz, except something that at least one or two of you had mentioned but then never went back to. There were 2 or 3 blacked out spots on the map from the Wizards 3 tower. And every time you're like, what's in those? I'm like, oh, that's Kaz's room and that's Illustrial's room. And nobody ever followed up on that one. You never went into the rooms to check things out or investigate. Did anybody feel like that was too much of a rug pull, or did that come out across okay?
Personally,
No,
I think it came out okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So that's one that
I think. Well, I'd heard not about the exact twist, but I mentioned this in one of our chats before, where I heard people say they hated that element of the story of the kind of oh, you've done all this, but it was all for me, for Kaz. But in the actual way it played out, at least for us, I thought it all worked out great and was a lot of fun, and I loved the simulacrum distracting us, and yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, I didn't find it miserable like a lot of people I saw.
Yeah, and that's where, as I was reading through, I was like, oh, we'll see how it plays out. It didn't feel like it played bad, and a lot of that goes to the folks at the table and what they're willing to bite on. So happy that worked out. After a fight against Miska, forcing him back, recovering the Rod of Law, and smacking him back through the portal, the party then went to confront Kaz, and again didn't do what I expected, because I was really expecting you to go full Nova on Kaz right away. But everyone kept Durin in check, because I think Durin was the one who was constantly like, can I smite him now? Can I smite him now? And
Can I kill him? Can I kill him?
And instead,
no, he had a separate plan. He said, "Can I? What did you say? Can I go crazy on him?" And we all assumed you meant kill him, but you had a different idea in mind, I believe, at the time.
No, 100%. I would have wanted to just smite his ass. And when everyone said no, I changed what I'm saying on the spot to fit in.
And so, as we were getting to this point, Televere, there was a reveal, might have been the chapter before this one, when you were heading to Avernus, when you were studying Montgomery's spellbook, and we asked you for, I think it was a history or perception roll. And you had... Did you recall this? You were copying one of the spells?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, you were copying. We had swapped our spell books because we were copying the spells down. I got Wish, and I forgot which one you got.
Invulnerability.
Invulnerability.
Okay.
So as you were doing that,
I ended up using.
I think I asked for a perception or whatever the check was, and Montgomery had rolled a deception or a stealth roll, and I think he had the difficulty at like a 3, and you managed
Yeah, I
to roll
rolled a 4.
yeah, you rolled a 4.
I
You came
rolled
in
a
with a
4.
2. So one of the things that I thought we were going to reveal and have some time to deal with, but it came up. You managed to roll the number just below. Was Montgomery had been thinking awful hard about ways to protect his family and possibly a temptation that, if he needed to be on Vecna's good side should the worst happen, what could he do? And as he's scribbling in the edges of his notes, which is unfortunately the exact way to get Vecna's attention and get it channeled back to him, either he or Vecna had come up with the idea that just one piece of the rod of the law into that infernal river would, cement your place as one of Vecna's folks. But that scribbles never got revealed because Delavere managed to roll the nat 1 or nat 2 off of that
Yeah,
set.
Man.
I was not happy about that roll because I knew there had to be something fishy, but I was like, okay, well,
That was
not like
it.
I'll ever know now.
So
Yeah, he
was
was
probably
only
just like, "Look."
it was just research, before you can make a
research.
decision, you got to hear both sides, you can't just, charge forward without
Absolutely
knowledge.
get it.
Uh,
Absolutely get it.
and
I can totally
so
imagine him just like, what is this gibberish, Montgomery? You got to keep a cleaner spellbook.
Montgomery, what is this? This is unprofessional. I thought we had a talk about this.
Yeah, what is this ramblings over here?
and at that point we entered into Vecna's grasp and then this towards the centers, if there could be such a thing, of Pandesmos. Vecna's little bubble where in the cave of shattered reflections he was attempting to rewrite realities, bringing truth to the secret lies that he had been telling, of the torment of his enemies, of the rulership he would bestow, and that he is the singular God that remains. The party did a little bit of prep work, dove in, and then it was fight time. They first entered the astral sea bereft of gods. Therein they found the one last astral dreadnought finishing off the one last corpse of the gods. The dreadnought, ill from the poisons, entered into its dungeon, found the central point of Vetka's secret, and then discovered that by applying significant magical force, they could alter or question the secret. That first one, I think they realized the magic, applied it, and then shortly thereafter it occurred to some or all of them individually that if they were going to be rewriting reality, why not rewrite it the way they would like it to be? So come the next few reality rewrites, it started getting a little bit competitive. The Torment of Kaz, wherein they found the Citadel, Kaz's hometown. The vampire could not be easily freed or made to fight, but they discovered the Sword of Kaz as the singular lie there, channeling some energy into it. And then by the time they discovered Neverwinter's new king, wherein Never Ember had reclaimed. How did
sorry,
you...
I was looking on stream.
Wait, how
On
did you
stream,
get
I had a giant heart on my face on the stream. I
When you
just
do
happened
that,
to look over right when I
did
was-
you do the heart bubbles, or did that happen automatically?
No, he's on a Mac, aren't you?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
it's-
Is
Oh,
this-
is that a Mac
Oh, was
thing?
it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I just did it.
I didn't know when you
Oh,
did
I
that. I
have-
saw the
I-
hearts. I'm
it
like,
did do
I
it.
didn't know
have it
Discord
turned
did
on.
that.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. The best one is this. Let's see.
Oh, what's it going to be, a Macarena?
What?
Oh, wow.
That's pretty good.
That's the
Yeah.
best part.
All right, I got to learn these things. But in Neverwinter's New King, where Red's camera has
We lost
attacked.
Televere. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here, but something's going weird.
No worries. Things got a little bit competitive, as the crown of Never Ember, once removed from his head, or with his head, was being footballed through the air as fire was being drawn, as instead of just resetting the reality, seeds of godhood were being planted. Relic charges were being expended, as were some spell slots and other energies, resulting in a little bit of contested party action. Towards the end of that, Durin's choice of taking out a large chunk of the citizenry was called into question, and Montgomery's second family was shuffled off into a pocket dimension to be retrieved later. Fortunately for Durin, the only two from that reality who remain are Montgomery's wife and child, who are not calling him out for his oath-breaking ways. But does anybody want to talk about what happened there? Oh, that's right. They were in the mansion by then. Well,
they didn't see it.
I'd have to go back and check the round order. But
that was right at the end.
Is it like Leroy's tiny hut? I'm looking at the Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins' tiny hut.
The Leroy Jenkins tiny hut was just full of wormlings.
I hadn't heard of that one.
Inch. But can you see outside of it like Lehman's tiny hut?
I'm not sure. I think this one you go into and it's a full-on mansion you can't see out of. Yeah. But we'll do a little research and see how much trouble that brought. But after the contested efforts in the mini realities.
Let me call out Lost All here, because he was feeling very aggressive at the moment. One, Fortune was not expecting him to totally betray him when he was trying to put the seeds of godhood in there and be like, no, not to Fortune, to you, Televir. But then when Durin does that, and Lost All's like, I'm going to try and make this reality that you just broke your oath. Just really a little nasty streak from, you see the kind of energy Lost All puts out when everyone else around him is putting out bad energy.
Yeah.
The energy around him kind of.
He was like, you want to be a bad boy? Be a bad boy.
You got it. Now, speaking of
odd, it's nice to be a bad boy.
Speaking of odd energies affecting people, I believe it was around about this time that Televir was evidencing the influence of the Rod of Law becoming a very orderly Televir for the first time in a long time.
Probably the first time in forever.
Yeah.
He was very lawful beforehand, but
he was lawful with a questionable
moral. That was lawful evil.
He was lawful evil. That was the thing that I always tried to communicate was he's not in this for the greater good. He's in this for himself. He doesn't want to live under Vecna.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
And Lost All knew that and was using, his friendship with Televir to kind of help him navigate, the lower and the upper at the same time.
Absolutely. And as all that came to a head, eventually that reality faded away. The party found themselves in the Cave of Shadow Reflection. Big door, big gem. Big doors with big gems played out well for the party in the past. But they gritted their teeth, they tapped the gem, and then teleportation, maze, and shenanigans started, fighting with reflection monsters and Vecna themselves due to some noises that were made. It took a little while for the party to sort out the teleportation patterns, how to get from where to where, and one of the things that I jotted down there as a future development throughout the multiverse. There are expressions that develop in parallel. The wording differs, as do the stories they come from. But in nearly each plane, there is a wisdom that says something like, you will often encounter fate on the road you take to avoid it. In the Forgotten Realms, however, especially in the area of the Sword Coast, a perhaps more optimistic version exists. Fortune comes crashing into those who stay their course as it seeks to avoid those that chase it.
Because I literally crashed into Vecna
every time. And as I looked back and I thought about it, and I was like, while you did signify it at the end, crashing into Vecna repeatedly, throughout it all, the party has somehow managed to run headfirst into the worst possible situation repeatedly. Whether that was the teleportation across the bridge into the Marilith statues, whether it was Loktar's rushing forward to the assassin mage combo. It just seemed like when you guys decided, hey, we're just going to rush headlong, it was right into Glaive and her assassins or the trap or whatever. When you were being cautious, you never found traps. Like it was a pattern that you guys managed repeatedly. Like, we're going to check this trap. We're going to be careful. We're going to check these doors. We're going to listen for things. Like, nothing's there. It's all good. As soon as you stopped doing it, it was the next door every time. And I'm like, wow. Like, the false sense of security is so good in these. But in spite of that, the Archlich was destroyed. I had a little note here that stories are going to circulate in the wake of Vecna's undoing. Only a handful witnessed the events, and of them, Vecna is not one to divulge his secrets. There are tales of the mage with the bravery to strike at Vecna with the staff of law, and of the bugbear who took it up, and whose strength laid the Archlich low. As a measure of the bugbear's might, it is frequently cited that after sealing Miska, the wolf spider, the rod broke into only 7 parts. Yet in the wake of the bugbear's furious assault on the god of dark secrets, all that remained of the rod were a few motes of glitter.
Aw.
Aww. Later on, after everything has been settled, Zybilna, fairy godmother to the children of the multiverse, ruler of the domain of Prismeer, and sponsor of the Witchlight Carnival, holds within her palace of hearts of desire many a whim, wish, and memory. A smile lifts the corner of her mouth slightly as one such memory finally settles into place. The playfulness seen in her grin calls to mind her younger self. Well done me. A brief surge of emotion ripples through her domain, flowing back along the countless hopes and dreams to children throughout the many realms of the world. Children are, at times, known to speak with wisdom and authority beyond their years. Few, however, experience this as often as the paladin Durin. For many times throughout the years to come, a child will offer him a cheerful thank you for the many services he does, to be followed by a heartfelt, if curiously mischievous, and well done you.
Does Jern react when the children say this to him?
Probably not the first couple times, but after maybe 5 or 6, he's like, "Who the hell is doing this?" No, I'm kidding.
You don't
I
start
think he
complaining,
knows.
also with you.
I think he knows.
One that I noted down, and I'm not sure about this one, but I would say, on the plane of Fugue, where the dead could only wait to be claimed by their gods, tempted by fiends, or judged by the Lord of the Dead, a few souls have been presented a different choice. From within the shop of minions, the broker of pawns offers souls who wish to better themselves in the eyes of their gods an opportunity to serve for a few years on the mortal plane without the temptation to stray from their chosen path. Carefully worded contracts assure souls serve those aligned with the gods they favor, while the impeccably clean and comforting shop, with slightly stale tea, reassure the souls that the being they deal with truly cares for the dead. Finally,
My boys.
there they go.
And I deleted my message about that because honestly, that is the way it should be. That is such a good idea for handling limbo. Make your choice. You get to live that path. You made a really bad choice. Well, you got to live that path. Now you're going to hell. But you did the path and it was a good one. Okay, maybe your god will still like you.
Yeah. This one I'm not too sure about because I I watched too much anime, and I wanted to give Montgomery a harem anime ending. So I went for something a little more tasteful, I think. Um, Neverwinter's nobility and royal lines have been acknowledged as one of the most complicated and messy political structures ever caused by humans of the Sword Coast. It is no surprise, then, that the most confusing family line in history should share some of it with Neverwinter. Known to the historians as the House of Reflection, this family, within a single generation, established itself as a notable household, both within Neverwinter and Cormyr, where it constructed two remarkably similar estates, held by two remarkably similar ladies, who had birthed two remarkably similar heirs. The progenitor of the family was known to be an accomplished wizard, so rumors swirled of illusions, clones, doppelgangers, and all manner of scandal. But through the many generations of eerily similar descendants, the family rose together to meet any trouble that faced them in unison. A dark rumor follows in the wake of all great accomplishments, though. So it is said that should a child of the family lose their match, they would not long afterwards disappear without a trace on some misty evening, as the progenitor of the house did towards the end of their life. Montgomery,
Yeah, you-
fair?
First kid, man.
Yeah, that
Sounds
fits
good.
in pretty close to what I was thinking about.
So you go to Barovia when you stop having kids. Is that what the is that what I'm getting from that tale?
So
Or that's the legend.
So what my thought of that is the two pairs, so the this reality and that reality, run parallel, one in Cormyr, one in Neverwinter. But should one of the matched set, because the next generation tends to always be born in the same time, they're always eerily similar, identical cousins, Patty Duke style kind of way. Should one of those ever go missing, not too long later, the other will go missing as well, disappearing on some misty night, being pulled into Barovia. Because in Barovia, Beta waits, as does Beta's family. I think maybe once Montgomery had seen his wives well settled, their lives spent into old age, he'd finally gotten around to trying to deal with that lingering thread. But I don't know that it'll ever get resolved. I don't know if it ever could get resolved.
I have a question.
Sure.
That's what I was going to say.
Did Montgomery pay off the debt?
Which of the debts?
The one that
Televir?
no, the debt to the Beta.
Oh, yeah, well, how could he?
And I think that sort of is the curse that the family picked up with its success. Is kind of that lingering bit there. Now, the one that I left out is Lost Doll, because throughout the entire campaign, he's been teetering like on the edge of doing something either very awful or very noble, and I cannot figure out which way the fall would go. The things that are on my mind, and I'll poll the party and then I'll ask Lost Doll where he goes. Certainly, Bardic loves the lore, understands knowledge, but unlike Ogma, who protects all knowledge, Lost Doll seems to be willing to destroy certain knowledge or withhold certain knowledge. Lost Doll, one of the temptations that I provided to him as he was trying to get a little more vampire-y, is that he is more a psychic vampire than he is a blood vampire. So he could have pulled psychic energy out from time to time, given in to his vampire urges, and moved further from Dampier towards vampire. But despite my best temptations to put juicy brains in front of him, he did not bite. So Lost Doll, who I believe was working to get on the Board of Nobility in Evernight and establish themselves in the lands of the dead and Negashadows. Also aspiring to godhood of knowledge, but controlled knowledge. In your future, and we'll kind of turn this over to folks' future, I do not have a feel as to whether Lostall would fall to temptation, rise to heroics, or continue to straddle that razor's edge the whole way down. Fortune, Montgomery, Durin, Televir, Loktar, what do you think is going to happen? Because I could not figure it out. Then I want to see what Lostall says actually happens.
I think Tellier would assume he would eventually become a vampire.
Wait,
I
did
think
it?
I think he would be really shocked if he didn't just decide to go the full way through.
Didn't go all in fangs and tentacle brain. Got
Did
it.
did Lost All decide to become a god too, or was that only Televir?
No, Lost All did too.
Lost all did
Yeah.
too.
Lostall did too, but I couldn't figure out what kind of god he would go into. So that's kind of where as I was writing these up, like
God of the assholes.
yeah, like is he
Yeah,
is he like,
yeah, that's
I
fair.
would like to take over for Vecna. Like is the control of knowledge really just the control of secrets? Like are you going for Vecna's title, or are you going for Ogma's assistant, or what there? Because I could not get a bead on it. As I was like, this is a good idea, but I'm contradicting myself every other sentence. Which way would Lostall go?
I feel like Lostall, like if Ogma is, I don't know if this would play as Ogma, but if he's more like a kind of lawful with knowledge,
Mhm.
I would see Lostall as a more like full neutral, like true neutral of knowledge, like decisions kind of dispassionately sometimes made that he would choose to keep for himself, but otherwise not tend on like hoarding too much. Like, I would see him trying to really straddle the middle perfectly
Okay.
as a god of knowledge.
So the thing that I kind of came away with, and possibly unfairly to Lostall, was he would be more of a gossip. Like he would be the god of popular knowledge. Like only for so long as it's popular does he keep it around, and then the moment it starts, he's like, blah, whatever. Like that's like what's kept sticking in my head, and I'm like, he didn't really do that too much in game, but it feels like a very solid possibility. So
Oh, that
Lostall,
hot
what's good?
You're like the TMZ of the
Yeah,
The TMZ god.
I'm the gossip magazine that's at the express checkout line.
Yeah, you're the like National Enquirer.
World
Isn't that-
Weekly News.
Yeah.
So what type of god of knowledge would you be?
I think someone hit her right on the head there. I don't think I could be the god, but I would try to be a hand of the god of knowledge and try to keep the wrong people from getting the wrong knowledge.
Gotcha.
So he would walk that razor sharp line.
Okay.
Would that be the kind of thing like you try to keep knowledge that's going to very much hurt some people out of their own hands, while also keeping knowledge that would hurt a lot of people out of the hands of the evil that would then use that knowledge?
That's kind of where it'd be going. That's the way he was when he was like rolling solo without the party that got him into the trouble that he was in. So like stepping in there, he would try to. He knows he can't, keep evil from evil, but make it as hard as possible for that evil to find that knowledge.
Got it. So you are
Yeah.
Without getting myself in too much trouble for the real world, you are trying to go for good censorship, which seems like an oxymoron, but it is the same thing that says, hey, up until you're a certain age, you probably shouldn't know how to do this thing.
You can't censor everything.
Yep.
He would know that, but he would make it difficult on those trying to find that knowledge.
Got it. Awesome.
Because he wouldn't want to see like another Vecna occur.
Gotcha. So with that said, Lost Dolls kicked us into the what happens from here. Durin, we'll go down towards you there. What does Durin's future look like?
So, as I kind of mentioned at the end of the last session, I do think that Durin is taking this chance to continue to see the work, not only just the Forgotten Realms, but across the plains, exploring. I think that, if he hears, gets wind of maybe a magical item or two, he tries to hook up with Fortune to, look into it. I think it's not a continuous like Fortune and Durin are together, but when they do, it's like, oh yeah, just like old times.
Gotcha. Getting the band back together. Down to Loktar. Loktar, anything you'd like to cast into the future?
I think he would be kind of the champion of his people rising up and becoming more, going out and going forth and trying to use himself as somewhat of an example, and say there's more to life than just local pillage. We can broaden our horizons and achieve so much more if we.
There's also far away pillage.
If we use our reach, our long arms, and reach out and seize it.
He will seize power with our abnormally long arms.
Yeah.
And along with this, he brings back the worship of the Bugbear 3. So they've got their incentive. We'll do the reverse.
They might not like that type of thing, though. I don't know if it would work out.
When you're a level 20 Bugbear squisher of all things, you can, suppress a lot of dissent.
Didn't when Casey was asking us any other kind of like changes we want to add to the layer of the universe, you added for the Bugbear gods, I believe, for them to just be a little bit more like Loktar. And I feel like that would be that element of being a little bit more like Loktar.
He probably wouldn't dare to consciously wish such a thing, but it would be in the back of his mind if they were like willing it,
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because they made him. I know it never got revealed, but he did some dirty deeds to earn their favor in the early days. It always kind of haunted him. They made him do some nasty stuff.
Well, you were. Let's see here. You were.
They're not nice guys.
You were King Groll's son, so there was a dwarf that you kept captive, who just wanted to get over to Wave Echo, Wave Echo Caverns. There was a paladin that you kept captive in there as well. You were a terrible youngster. Televir, over to you. Casting into the future.
I think Televir's whole thing would literally just be live his new immortal life as best he can and just keep doing what he was doing effectively. He didn't see anything wrong with continuing to be a necromancer. He just kind of had a crippling fear of death.
Sure.
So now that he doesn't fear death anymore, he's doing all the things he's been wanting to.
Awesome.
Absolutely going to try and kill Merkel. Like, that is a given, but he is 100% going to go to war with the god of death.
Hey, you got a friend up in the higher area now.
Yeah, I kind of foresaw him taking it to the idea of like, well, if he's the god of death, I might as well be the god of undeath, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Sounds good. Montgomery, aside from my guesses, what does the future look like that Montgomery crafts?
Well, you were right. Pretty much, he was going to end up with 2 houses. That's actually what I had come up with before you had written your thing. So I thought that was really kind of right, spot on. And in fact, he returns to the astral sea, at the 18-hour mark because he knew that they were going to be there, and he decides what's he going to do, and he chooses a path of compassion for them, even though you know she's a devout follower of Vecna, and so is this other child of his. So he basically takes on the role of their protector, and then he would hide them away or protect them and protect their right to worship Vecna, even though it's something he doesn't believe in at all.
Sure.
So, and then the only other thing is I thought maybe Beta might catch wind of it and say, oh, here it is, yet another example of him messing with things, instead of putting reality back the way it should have been, he ripped them out of that alternate reality, and now they're in the real reality with his real family. It would just fuel Beta even more to come after him.
Well,
Seems
it
good.
almost feels like Beta's family just grows every time your family loses someone. So
Well,
every time someone passes on your side, one of the other ones goes to.
Yeah, that's true too.
Which in Barovia, probably not great to have a big family, because the bigger the family, the more messed up variations of family you get. But
Hey, listen, family's family at the end of the day.
But we did kind of forget about one kind of major event that we didn't touch on. Back when there was the ghost that we had tea with, and there was the
Yumi?
room.
Yumi.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's when I got the Helm of Brilliance. Remember, we all got a roll, and I had picked. I think it was 33 was the number.
It was.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember it, but I do.
Yeah, that was a strange moment.
And yeah,
That's when we
that's
knew
actually
you were
what
good
fun-
luck.
Yeah, that's what ultimately funded his crystal sword.
there we go.
Yeah, because we
Which was
sold it for
devastating,
like,
by the way. It
yeah,
was a great pick. Great pick.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, like the reason I got it is, as a level 12 with 12 levels of Paladin, I'm already doing a D8 of Radiant, no matter what. The Crystal Longsword does the same exact thing. So just a normal attack was 3d8 total. And then
Yeah.
it's like, now I can also smite. Now I can also do Booming Blade.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
stuff.
it was pretty sick. It was pretty
Nice.
awesome watching you roto-rooter some of those opponents.
My favorite was in the was it Tomb of Wandering Souls? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
When we were fighting the stone race cars.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah,
which
and
enemies?
I had literally just taken the mobile feat because I was like, I want to be able to actually use Booming Blade. I don't want to be a paladin that uses it and just stands there and then I don't get the effect. So me being able to run up, hit one, retreat, because I know it really can't follow me. It has to move. So then it takes the extra damage. That was fun. And then everyone else just kind of sat back and watched me do it.
Yeah. And that was
It's one of those fights.
I double checked
Yeah.
myself. Wayward Souls, not Wandering Souls, but yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Mm.
And then to wrap us up for the forecast of the future, Fortune. What would you like to toss out there?
Yeah, I think Fortune's got a lot of things he still has to do.
Yeah, Fortune has the most out of all of us.
He still has.
Check.
His first plan is finding out that Kaz was not able to actually leave, and the first thing Strahd asked was for how Kaz got out, was to essentially eventually take back to Strahd. What you need is one of your enemies to become a multiverse threat. So tell me who that is, and we can arrange that to happen. With the plan of getting Strahd out of his domain and killing him for good. That
Gotcha.
is one of Fortune's plan for dealing with Strahd, is trying to essentially create another cause situation. Hopefully with the help of some of his friends up high.
So
and get Strahd out, and then probably trap him somewhere where he has no power.
got it. So I will say there's some timey-wimey shenanigans going on. Among the timey-wimey shenanigans, there is a event in Ravenloft called, I think, the Grand Conjunction, wherein Strahd does find a way out temporarily, and in doing so, causes the whole of the Realms of Dread to implode and reset. Several domains go away, several move around, several come through.
Wow.
And I will say that Fortune is probably in and amongst the driving factors for that. So at some point in the future, the domains of dread, as they undergo their traumatic shift, there'll be the bestest boy just doing his bestest in there.
With a little help from from a god of knowledge where it belongs and a god of undeath, I think that situation could be managed quite well.
I feel like
you
that
hear
is.
some music from time to time inspiring you.
Yeah.
I feel like
Usually
that is
when
the
with
kind of thing.
Durin. With Durin, we play some music inspiring
Well, you
some
know,
dance.
I am proficient in the viol.
He is proficient in the viol, and he did introduce the Macarena to Neverwinter.
It's true.
So
Oh, from time to time he hears the
And
Macarena in his
Neverwinter
head.
across the plains.
across the plains, there's not a
I
plane
did
left.
I did the Macarena in Avernus, remember?
That is
Yep.
true. That is true.
When Durin goes to bed, the Macarena starts playing in his head on many nights.
That's how he knows Lostall's there
Not
with
every
him.
night, but many nights.
I was going to say, in addition, so that's his plan with Strahd, which was one of the key factors why Televir was 100% right. It would be pretty bad to become like a kind of trickstery god who also owes a debt to someone like Strahd. So first he has to take care of that before he can hopefully help out the multiverse with his, or as you said, the unique talent of when you're being cautious, nothing happens, and when you throw caution to the wind, everything goes completely wrong. But the other thing
Right in.
Loktar would be more than willing to help you screw up Strahd. He hated that guy.
Oh yeah, he would definitely be reaching out to all his old friends. But between those times when he's exploring the multiverse, looking for magic items or adventure, a wooden house on a pair of legs running across the wide open plains of the Outlands.
Yeah.
Instead of the chicken legs of the Baba Yaga hut, it is long furry legs that look almost like, you can't quite tell, is it a bugbear's legs? Is it a furbolg's legs? Is it a tabaxi leg? Whose furry legs are these? Why do their claws not make sense? Why does it change all the time? Travels around as the guild hall of extraplanar exploration and just a base that Fortune uses to, every time someone gets lost, ends up in the Feywild without any hope of finding their way back. In the mist, instead of the hut of Baba Yaga, the furry sounds of a house will come up and sometimes help, stray travelers get to Sigil. It doesn't help them back to wherever they're from. It just takes them back to the center.
They take it back and like,
the
okay,
multiverse.
get out. You're on your own.
Yep. Make a life for yourself here, or find your own way back. But you are not in the Feywild anymore, or you're not in Pandesmos. Wherever someone is lost and in need of a little bit of assistance in the plains.
And we're not willing to say we're going to take you somewhere better. We're going to take you somewhere different. But
technically safer.
Technically safer. I will say with that, again, thank you all for playing. I had a great time. Looking forward to the next couple of games that we play together in the future. For those of you who've been watching along on the YouTubes, on the Discord, etc., thank you for watching and paying attention. We've been 20 Sides to Every Story. I've been Casey. This has been Vecna, Eve of Ruin. And have a great night, everybody. We'll catch you all a bit later. Keep an eye on the Discord and the stream for announcements of new stuff to come.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah. Hit it.
How many of us was this our first campaign from start to finish that you actually completed for a tabletop or D&D? Because it was definitely mine.
I can safely say it was mine too.
This was my first D&D campaign ever.
Oh yeah, really?
Wow.
I didn't know that.
It's downhill
What the
from
heck?
here.
Oh wow.
No,
You did phenomenal then.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
cool, man.
No
Nick has
doubt.
gone from not playing to already DMing. So it is he jumped in both feet. But thank you all.
Yeah.
And for everything we do. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to hop in the Discord, say hi, and toss notes around. Other than that, have a great night, everybody. Any other shout outs before we hit it?
Shout out
Thank
to
you,
Casey
Casey.
for being
Yeah.
a great
Yep.
DM.
Oh, shout
Yeah,
to
no
Casey
doubt.
for being an amazing
Yeah.
DM.
You
Thank
have
you.
single-handedly made this campaign so much fun, and I am glad to have spent the last year doing this with you guys.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Though
Yeah,
I
very
will
much.
not
Same
claim
here.
single-handedly. You guys loaned me 10 to 12 hands, depending on whether you're including yourselves, and could not have done it without you guys. So I'm happy to take my credit for the 1/7 of the folks involved here, but much more than that was just you guys helping me to bounce things back and forth. Cool.
We're very handsy.
We-
Okay.
Stop
You
at the stream there.
bugbears.
Can't do better.
You got the bugbear who destroyed everything, and you got a bard. Hands are what we got.
A rogue? I mean, literally, my hands were in every door that I could put it in.
All right. Night all. Bye.
Yeah.
Except-
Good night, y'all.
Have a good night.